sorry.
Calling the September 9th general government meeting to order. First up, I need approval of the agenda as presented.
Support.
Have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimous. Next up, we'll move to item 3, public comment. Hello, public. We'll move to, with the lack of public comment, we'll move to item 4, committee items. First up will be the minutes from the August 12th, 2019 meeting. Get a motion and support to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Next up, we'll move to item 4B, our Conservation District semi-annual report.
I woke
Welcome.
up this morning and self-identified as a 36-year-old blonde woman. So I am here for Lori. She is celebrating her 20th anniversary with her husband. So that's why
Hope you're
she's
not still the
here.
blonde woman then.
I'm sorry, sir.
I said, I hope you still aren't the blonde woman.
I'm assuming y'all have this report. Lori told me that I could pick and choose and tell you what I wanted to out of it. We have been busy at Conservation District. We had the 2019 spring sale. We sold lots of trees. We had 21 volunteers. Project Red we were involved in, which is part of the agriculture with the Farm Bureau and Michigan State. There was 1,095 third grade students that got to learn what pigs were, what chickens were, what farm animals do. The Conservation District was involved in the celebration of Earth Day. And if you have the report, it does not say this, but the Grand River Environmental Action Team was the most famous and has been the most sought-after group with its kayaks and canoes. We were involved in Adopt a Stream, trying to find out how healthy the Grand River is, and at this point, the Grand River is a lot healthier than has been in the past. We were involved in learning fair. We started because of the state of Michigan now requires boats to be washed when they come out of bodies of water, whether they be a lake or a river, to prevent the invasive species from going elsewhere. We were at the Jackson County Fair. We had the offer to people to check for nitrites and nitrite in their well water. We had several people that took advantage and they got the results. We have been for the last couple of years involved in scrap tires, trying to keep the tires out of the river, out of everywhere else. And so we work with the townships around Jackson County, having tires come in and take them out of there. We're involved in Adopt a Highway, of cleaning up the highway, getting much deeper in invasive species. Hopefully we'll find some red crawfish that we can take care of individually, but as of yet we haven't found any. But Dr. Sheikha Sheen and others have been working diligently. Like I say, we're involved in invasive species. We're involved in our grants, scrap tire grants and invasive species. We'll continue on with the Adopt a Stream, Adopt a Highway. She's been planning our annual dinner and our 2020 tree sale. Hopefully you don't have anything technical, because I'm not technically involved in answering your question, but I can try and give her an answer.
Any questions? Looks like you're
Thank you,
off
sir.
the hook. Thank you, Kenny. Moving on to item 4C, the Enterprise Group Brownfield Plan. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You have a resolution to approve the American One Credit Union Brownfield Plan, and just to highlight some of the aspects of that plan, there's a private investment on American One's behalf of over $1.6 million. They're creating 12 full-time jobs. They'll be reimbursed through the tax increment financing, their costs of $95,875. And also, the initial taxable value on that property was $50,735. That'll increase, and that incremental tax will be collected. The JCBRA will be refunded $12,300, and then we will have additional monies go into our local Brownfield revolving fund over the length of the Brownfield plan. It's estimated at 10 years, and the capture will begin in 2020. More exciting than all those details is if you've gone out M60 and see how that site looks, where King Road branches off there in the new credit union. It's really a beautiful building. So with the Brownfield plan, that assists in financing all those eligible costs. So our request is that you recommended the full board approval of the resolution approving the Brownfield plan. It was approved by Spring Arbor Township July 8th.
Questions, concerns? Corey.
So, from your description there, is that where the former Happy Housing plot was?
There was, on the corner, there was a gas station. Let me look at the name. I'm not sure if I have the name of it.
It was
There
that
a
King
gas
service station.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
years and years ago, I think it was a Phillips. Do you remember that? Some of us older folks will remember Phillips 66 service station there.
And currently, the closest American One to Spring Arbor would be where? Parma?
Oh, gosh, I don't know the answer to that.
Wondered. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, we move to motion and support. We already have the motion from... We'll have motion and support. All in favor of sending this to the full board then indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up, we
Thank you.
have item 4D, Enterprise Group. You doing that too?
So this is kind of an exciting item on the agenda. It doesn't sound exciting, but it's abolishing a brownfield plan. The reason we're abolishing it is that we're completed in the tax increment collections on this. So this was the Stone Village condominiums. It was a brownfield, and the developer did not care to get reimbursed for his environmental costs. So the only costs that got reimbursed were to the Brownfield Authority that we expended to get the work done, and then we were able to collect the extra 5 years. So it's been a short brownfield plan, and it's the first one in our portfolio that we're abolishing the plan because it's completed. So it's kind of a success story. So our request is that you recommend approval of the resolution to abolish the plan.
Questions, comments, motion and support? Okay, we have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome, thank you. And per Chairman Shotwell's request at the Brownfield Authority, excuse me, I brought some paperwork to distribute, if there's a motion that I can do that. He wanted me
Paperwork?
to, I'll tell you what it is. At the Brownfield meeting, I distributed some information to the Brownfield Authority members, just so that they would be aware of some of the work that goes on behind the scenes, because all of this is so complicated, as all of you know through the presentation we had with DEQ and EnviroLogic. But there's a lot of work that goes on with townships and our staff and EnviroLogic to collect the taxes. And so this is just a good case example, if you want to look at how all that works. I'm not going to take the time to go over it in great detail, but it's the Clavons project, and it just shows you kind of before and after pictures, what the work that the Brownfield Authority on behalf of the county accomplishes and how it all works behind the scenes in the tax collection.
Okay, we had a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Okay, yes, please bring that up.
Thank you.
The reason for this is this helps commissioners who had questions about how tax increment works, where all the money goes, how much money goes where for a property and everything like that. It's a full spreadsheet with an explanation. And typically there are over 15 to 18 different taxing entities that are involved in a brownfield. When we go for a millage, we have to put language on our ballot proposals that directly answer this question. So I wanted to share it with commissioners, and we'll put it in the packet and share it with the rest of the commissioners also.
And by all means, if you have any questions after you look at the detail, I'll be happy to respond.
This is meant to give us a taste of
Just,
the project.
yes, of a
This-
project going through the before pictures, the after, what the investment is. And then the tax tables, they're kind of complicated, but it shows you, if you look through there, the initial taxable value, the taxable value when you have the tax increment, and how it's distributed through the taxing entities, totals, and so forth. So
Be very
if
helpful, I'm sure.
questions result, just let me know, and I'll be happy to respond to them at a future meeting.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you very much.
Next up, 4E, our treasurer's quarterly report. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, and good morning. So it's our quarterly report time, and I'll update as of August 30th. It's a one-pager that you should have received, so I'll go through and kind of just highlight what I reported out, and then, of course, if we've got questions, I can entertain those as well. So first and foremost, we had our first tax foreclosure auction that was held Wednesday, the 28th of August. At the auction, we presented 142 parcels that were offered for sale. That's the number of parcels that we foreclosed on this year. Just by means of answering a question every year, I like to identify those local units that exercise their first right of refusal. This year, only Blackman Township did that. They purchased a vacant lot parcel. You can see the dollar amount that they did that under their first right. No other entities took advantage of that, so that got us to the 142 parcels that we presented at auction. At the auction, we had a very good auction. We had a very good turnout, a lot of first-time buyers that came through to the auction, full house. We sold 64 parcels at the first auction, and the total dollar amount was just over $540,000. We now have our second tax foreclosure date set. That's Monday, October 7th. What I have been doing with the second auction is bundling the entire remaining lot of parcels in one large bundle. And so Monday, a total of 78 parcels will be offered for sale. And what we do with that is the large number of that 78 parcels is the city parcels. And we've been working in tandem with the city of Jackson the past couple of years, and we've bundled the properties, and after the second auction, the city then takes those properties and pays the balance that's due. So another point that you might be interested in, the total dollars that we needed to recoup and recover from the tax foreclosure auctions, that number was $639,729.70. We got pretty close to that with the results from the first auction. You can also see here that the city will be given a chargeback, and that is for those parcels that they're going to purchase, and that's just over the dollar amount of $156,000 for 53 parcels in the city. I think it's important to note that 33 of those 53 have houses or structures. There's some garages in there, and then 20 vacant lots. All remaining parcels will be offered to the townships after that second auction. As per the statute, that timeline, that process has not changed. We follow the statute very clearly on that. And then after 12/31, December 31st, we will, any remaining properties make available for public sale. So that's kind of the tail end of the foreclosure process. I see we have a couple of questions. No? Yes, Commissioner Shotwell?
There was a property in Liberty Township within the Grand Lake chain, Mirror Lake area. Now, does that get bundled with The city bundle, when you say you turn it into one bundle, so the city ends up owning that piece of property?
No. So if I understand what you're asking, that did not sell at the first auction?
I believe it did not.
Okay, if it did not sell at the first auction, then it would be bundled together with all of the city parcels. So any remaining township parcels and city parcels get bundled together.
Okay,
Then, after that second auction, the city takes their portion and pays for it. Then we do another ask of the local units if they wish to take the parcels at that point. It's their first right of refusal.
and if they don't, then where does the parcel go?
Becomes ownership of the county of Jackson.
Okay, and the county makes them available for sale?
That's correct.
Okay, and so when we sell them, they would be a clean title and everything?
Yes, that is correct.
Along with it? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Kennedy.
So I'm understanding this correctly, when you bundle it, if a private person were to come to this auction, they would have to purchase everything?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
That would be including the city.
Correct, yes. Yes.
Don't you feel that that's a hindrance to selling some of the properties potentially, or no? Is there a rationale as to why we're bundling them all like that?
There is a rationale. The state statute says that the second auction is a no minimum bid, so we could sell properties for $100. That's not necessarily the best return for tax foreclosed property, selling them for $100. So, as I said, I have the ability by law to bundle the properties, and we've had this practice in place now for, I think, 5 years, and it works out really well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, if there's no questions about the tax foreclosure auctions, just two other bullet points that I want to highlight because they may generate some questions. I did have a meeting with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, now known as EGLE, that was formerly known as the MDEQ, on August 26th regarding the property located on Mechanic Street. And as a result of that, we will be looking forward to presenting a resolution for consideration on that property. Commissioner Shotwell, do you want to expound on that, or do you wish for me to?
We're just at the formative stage of the resolution. We're going to have the Brownfield Authority review it, make sure the language is correct and we don't forget anything, so it'll probably be coming forward before the end of the year would be my thought, and get it aligned. The state of Michigan, under MDEQ, had stepped up in the past and already assisted us with that piece of property.
That's correct.
And the next step is to consider moving this to the Superfund site and get it, so we can get it cleaned up. So this is just the path this type of project takes. And commissioners who've been here remember the Inn on Jackson Square as well as the consumer's property, that while not Superfund sites, we did have to walk through quite a process to get them cleaned up correctly.
Any questions regarding that?
I have another question going back to the second bundle.
Sure.
Okay. How many properties do we have that are not in the city? Would it be wise to do two bundles, one in the city and one in the county?
So the total that we're going to be offering at the second auction is 78 parcels. 53 are in the city. So what's the difference there? Yeah, give or take.
I just wonder about people's ability to buy out county.
They will have the ability, just not at the second auction. They will have the ability to purchase that property, but it will be after December 31st.
Be online then?
Correct.
Online only, okay. And
Yes.
that'd be a lot, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just,
Thank you for the question and the clarification.
oh,
I'm sorry?
the city wouldn't take the ones out in the county, and that's what
That's
the
correct.
process there.
They have no
Okay.
interest in that.
All right, thank you. Any further questions?
Okay, and so when they become available in December on the county website, how are we establishing the price point that we're going to?
So it would be after December 31st, that's the trigger tax date, so that's why it would be after December 31st. And then we work with our company that we contract out with, Title Check. They listed it on their website, and it actually, if people go to auction websites, it gets a lot more traffic than if we put it on the county website, so we partner with them and they do that. And what we do is we can set a minimum bid or a minimum offer, and that could be fair market value, or we could do your best offer, depending on the type of property.
Okay, because that's what I was going to
Yes.
say. I hear you say could be.
Could be.
So what is, What's our preferred method right now, setting?
It depends on the type of property. Generally speaking, what we have that remains after both auctions is vacant lots. So if there's not a high demand, or if there's not an interest in the property, because they usually get purchased at the first auction if there's a high interest.
Gotcha.
If it's a vacant lot, we'd like to consider, if it's an adjoining lot to, say, I own a house and the lot's next to us, we consider that. But we could set that, we set it at $250, $100. We've done that in the past. It just depends on the property.
Okay. Because that's exactly what I was thinking. A lot of times, if a neighbor knew that something was available,
Right.
they would purchase that property, take on the tax burden.
We try to work with if people have property and they want to extend their property or do an adjoining lot, we try to work with those people, absolutely.
Okay,
It's in their best interest. They're probably mowing it and taking care of it anyway.
right.
That's what we've heard in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? And then the last point, just to let you know, we're going to get into the scanning world. We're working with OnBase and ImageSoft and putting our toe in the water, I guess, in regards to the massive undertaking of scanning our documents. So stay tuned with that. But Michelle and the IT team here are really working with us on that. So more to come on that, I hope. And that's all I've got for an update, unless there's other questions I can answer.
Any other questions, Ward? Thank you, Karen.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have item 4F, the parks. Welcome, Kyle.
Good morning.
Morning.
So we are in need of a partner to provide catering and meal services for wedding receptions, private parties, and trade shows at the new event center. Just a little background about the process. In April, we sent out a request for proposals for these services. We sent it to a list of local and regional caterers to let them know directly about this opportunity, and we received 3 proposals back. We met with and interviewed all 3. The company that we're recommending, Kosh Dining, is they really stood out amongst the 3 experience-wise and presentation-wise. This was reviewed by the county's attorney and approved at the August Parks Board meeting. Be happy to answer any questions about it.
Questions? Go ahead. Okay, Corey.
Who were the other 2 companies that we received bids from?
There was a smaller company out of Marshall called Paula Tucker's Catering, and then Grady's Catering out of Brooklyn.
Further questions?
Is there a bid tab available to look at these 3 bids?
Yes, there is. You mean the scoring wise, or?
Yeah, is that included?
Oh, I don't know if that was included. I don't think the scoring was included, but Kosh was, they were pretty far ahead of the other 2, to be honest with you.
You say far ahead, you mean in cost?
No, experience and presentation wise. We had a point system based on key personnel, the type of menu that they could provide, their ability to serve over 800 people and things like that. So they just scored far and beyond the other 2.
Okay.
How were their pricing comparables?
They were all pretty comparable pricing. Their menu was by far the most flexible as far as the different options that they'd be able to provide for all the different types of events that will attract.
So it come down to really the ability to deliver.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Commissioner Shotwell.
This went through quite a process at the Parks Board. I want to make you aware of that. It wasn't just something that came here. We sent it back twice. And I believe Kyle and the Parks Board worked out, if you choose to have a local caterer do your party, Kosh will work with that person to provide. So if you decide that you want Matt's Barbecue at your event, Kosh will make sure that it's Matt's Barbecue that's served and everything like that. So it's not that they're going to be making Kosh available, yes. It gives us a responsible institutional caterer who can handle large groups, but it also is flexible enough with this agreement to be able to use a local contractor or, any any one of the different commercial kitchens that are around that are specific item-oriented within the community. So, and I thought that was a little innovative when they worked that out, and it was done at my behest, I will say that. We pried and fought, and we were able to get it through there, so it worked well.
You got the
And
best
that's
of
what
both
this is
worlds.
coming forward, yep.
Got the best of both worlds on that.
Well, trying to, yes, sir.
Any further questions, discussion? Not any motion and support?
So moved.
We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, none. Passes unanimous. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Human Services, item 4G, about our drug coverages, medical. Welcome, Richard.
Good morning. You have in front of you a motion to authorize Administrator Overton to sign a new contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they will be providing fully insured medical and prescription drug coverages to our active employees and pre-65 retirees. They've replicated the current plans, actually a little better. And you can see from the staff report the financial impacts. We're all favorable. It's really a win-win-win, especially for our employees. That really we're looking forward to having the Blues come back and provide claim administration and coverage for them. So I have here Senior Vice President Greg Sermont from Marsh McLennan, who can take you through the PowerPoint that's attached to the staff report also. Greg. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome.
Thank you. Richard, excuse me. Right here? I'll figure it out here. All right. Well, again, good morning. Happy to be here to take you through the highlights of the proposal we received from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, and the recommendation to migrate the group health plan for the active employees as well as the pre-65s from HAP over to Blue Cross Blue Shield and Blue Care Network. Of course, there's a little bit of story to be told. A couple years ago, we migrated away from Blue Cross Blue Shield. We had a self-funded plan for many, many years, but we took advantage of a pricing opportunity with Health Alliance Plan in partnership with the Jackson Health Network and Henry Ford Allegiance Health, where we were able to secure a multi-year fully insured arrangement, which was very financially beneficial to the county at the time. That program continues to run today, but given some of the administrative challenges we've had with Health Alliance Plan, staff feedback, very valuable feedback from employees of the county, as well as the financial opportunities that exist in the marketplace, we're presenting the recommendation to move to Blue Cross. Few bullet points here just to remind everybody where we came from. At the time when we migrated from the Blues to HAP, that was a fully insured arrangement. It was 100% transfer of risk, so fixed and guaranteed cost. Very significant savings at the time, about $871,000 annually for the active membership. We continued to see savings from 2018 into 2019 based on where the rate cap was scheduled to index relative to where the renewal actually came in for 19. We saved another $619,000. So again, very substantial. We witness comparable savings on the retiree side as well. However, earlier in the year, I did come out a couple times to meet with Mr. Overton and Mr. Martinchek about where do we go from here, because this guaranteed arrangement with HAP and the rate caps and whatnot was not going to last forever. And certainly there was some dissatisfaction, I would say, with respect to the administrative process that members had to go through to access care within that network. And so we discussed what a 3-year strategy might look like. Decision was made to go out to bid and secure proposals from any carriers who were interested in bidding on the county program. And we did get several competitive bids. Priority Health did take a hard run at it, but ultimately Blue Care Network and Blue Cross, given a final bid to the county, was the financial leader. Okay. We did also receive the HAP renewal in final form just a couple weeks ago, and while it's very appealing financially, it does not match the terms of the Blue Cross proposal. And that Blue Cross proposal is now considered final after about a month of delays in the Blues finalizing rates for us. So where we ended up was with HAP on a renewal basis, about a 13.6% reduction, excuse me, consistently between the current HMO and the PPO plan. We've got a 7.5% increase on the pre-65 retirees. As an incentive to maintain the HAP relationship, they did offer a $50,000 one-time invoice credit, which is to, in effect, offset costs, hard and soft costs, related to the renewal of that program and enhanced communication education campaign for the members. So we're looking at $779,000 a year in reduction in premium for that renewal, plus the $50,000 that was offered. Compared and contrasted with the Blues offer at 11.3% reduction for the actives, 13.1% reduction for the pre-65 retired, the Blues have stepped up with a $75,000 one-time, we'll call it implementation or invoice credit, which the county will experience sometime in January or February should you make the move to the Blues. Overall reduction in this case between the active and retired combined is $1.177 million in the first year, plus the $75,000. So what has been proposed in terms of plan design is very comparable to what's in place today with HAP. As far as the HMO product goes, today we have a multi-tiered arrangement, which has some complexity to it. We have Jackson Health Network at the top of the tier. That's where the richest level of coverage is available. Under the Blue Care Network program, that tier goes away. So the current Tier 1 plan design, or the value associated with that coverage, is available to everybody in Blue Care Network, regardless of where they seek care, so long as it's a participated contracted provider. For the PPO plan, currently, that's a high deductible plan that qualifies members for a health savings account. That'll continue to be the case under the Blue Cross PPO program. And that plan design under the PPO with the Blues is actually slightly enhanced. It's got a $100 lower deductible annually than the current HAP arrangement. So that would be good news for the member. Otherwise, when we look across the spectrum of covered charges, exclusions, limitations, and whatnot, the plan designs line up very closely to one another. We don't see any major deviations in benefits. There's no degradation of plan design or value to the member. It's essentially one-to-one, plan-to-plan. The Blues did offer a rate cap going into 2021. So at the first renewal, that rate cap is 8.5% maximum. So it is a 2-year guaranteed cost arrangement. Okay. Goes without saying, either under HAP or Blue Cross, that under the 80-20 cost-sharing arrangement that we currently have with members, that they'll experience a similar or a linear decrease in their contribution based on their 20% share. To the last point on the slide, we are keenly aware and very sensitive to what this means to members. The county's been through it once before, a couple years ago with HAP. It was a challenge. And so we'll be extremely attentive to the transitional and migration-related issues such as continuity of care, disruption in member, potentially physician relationships, pharmacy regimens, things of that nature, to make sure that we in the county and Blue Cross Blue Care Network are giving a very personalized approach to those members who we identify as being impacted. We expect that impact to be pretty minimal. Okay. So again, the recommendation is predicated not only on the financials, which are very appealing, but also the feedback of members. The county recently launched a member engagement survey, or satisfaction survey of sorts, and this was one of the very prominent feedback items in the survey. That is the level of frustration or dissatisfaction associated with a HAP arrangement. So obviously, with the elimination of the first tier, or the multiple tiers in the current HMO product, this program is simplified. It should be easier for employees to navigate through the system, to seek care really wherever they want to, so long as they're working with a contracted provider. To the second, to last bullet point, should be noted, the network arrangement for the PPO is the same network that the county used to have before it migrated to HAP. It's called Community Blue, sometimes referred to as simply Blue. It's the largest PPO network that the Blues have, and it is a national network. So it is identical to what the county had previously. We've taken a look at the disruption that would result on account of a move back to Blue Cross. And when I say disruption, this is a matter of taking a look at the specific physicians, clinics, labs, hospitals, other providers that your members have actually accessed care through in the past 12 months. We overlay that onto the Blue Cross Blue Care Network panel of contracted physicians and other providers to see where the hits and misses are. And this was extremely favorable. When we look at, for example, the HMO and members who sought care through the top tier of the network, so through JHN and the Henry Ford Medical Group, when we compare both professional and facility to the Blue Cross networks, we're looking at virtually 100% match. So we'd expect minimal disruption to those patient-provider relationships. When we look at the broader HMO network through HAP and compare that to Blue Care Network, it's 100% match. And likewise for the PPO network, both professional and facility, it's nearly 100% match up there as well. So the biggest area of impact is going to be in the pharmacy area, because the formularies or list of approved medications are different, although the Blues formularies are very extensive, so we'd expect pretty minimal impact there as well. That's it at a high level. With that, I'm happy to take questions.
Questions, board? Have a question? Oh, go ahead, Chairman Shotwell.
I notice on your disruption network, you don't talk about prescription disruption. And in the past, when we bounced from insurance carrier to insurance carrier, people have been forced to fall back to generics and go through a full regimen of 90 to 108 days of dealing with prescription upheaval. Will Blue Cross Blue Shield with this plan recognize the previous work that's been done by HAP with patients so they don't have to go through that process again?
I'll say for the most part, yes, but there will be situations for sure where members are going to have to put in some legwork, so to speak, to work with their providers to make sure that scripts are transferred effectively.
Well, it was a pre-order where Blue Cross Blue Shield notified everyone, or HAP notified everyone, that they had to attempt to default to generic first and prove that they needed the labeled product.
The HMO product will function likewise. So members will experience a certain level of disruption in the move from HAP's HMO to Blue Care Network's HMO.
Why is that? When we're coming from Blue Cross Blue Shield, they went to HAP, they had to do it, and now they're going back to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they were using that drug previously. Why do they get the disruption? I don't follow the logic behind that, other than making it inconvenient for the subscriber.
Well, each organization has their respective clinical teams that determine how these situations are handled. I will say that we're pretty confident that the level of disruption will be fairly minimal. I can't quantify it, but the effort will be focused on making sure that those people who are impacted in that manner, that they're provided a certain level of hand-holding to make sure that it's as easy or as seamless as it possibly can be for them.
You follow what I'm saying? That they're going to have to take a generic drug, which maybe they had reaction to, for up to 90 days as they work through the process to get back to the labeled drug.
Yep, I understand fully. It's an unavoidable consequence of moving. There will be situations where people will be grandfathered if they've already gone through a clinical utilization review programs such as prior authorization or step therapy. If they've already been approved for regiment, we'll work to have them grandfathered so they won't have to move off of the medication they're currently taking. And the last thing anybody wants to do is disrupt a course of treatment. But again, it's not something we control. This is as a fully insured product with Blue Cross, we lack the discretion or authority to make those determinations. We're really, somewhat at the mercy of the insurer and their outcome or their determination of how those situations will be handled. So they will happen, and it's up to us to make sure that it's as minimal as possible and that those people who are impacted are given a helping hand to navigate through that process.
Okay.
I'm with Chairman Shotwell. I mean, they've had to prove their need for a specific medicine already. Go through the uncomforts and the frustration, and now we're adding extra work to the doctor. He's going to have to go back and do his presentation again to say, no, just like last time, they need this medicine. It don't seem right.
Well, you're exactly correct. There's going to be some level of that activity happening.
Okay. Further questions? Do you want to make a motion, support, send this to the board? Okay, we have motion, support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. I think this question will probably come back up when we have a full board.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, that's it? Is that your total presentation, sir?
Yes, it
Okay.
was. Thank you for your time this morning.
Lets me move my computer ahead. Thank you. Okay, next up we have finance. Welcome, Cecilia.
Good morning. I am here to report on July's financial statements. We closed July looking very well. Actually, our expenditures are right on where we need to be at 58.3%. The benchmark is 58.2%. So we're spending like we need to be expending at this point. Our revenues are also up based on our 3-year revenue percentage. It's at 31.9%. And the 3-year average is at 30.1%. So our revenues are even coming in higher than our 3-year average. So, and at this point, I just, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions, board? Alrighty, well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to item 4I. Administrator controller item is policy 1140, grants administration policy. Mike, Deb, who's? Bounce your way. Board, questions? I read through them, they all looked pretty straightforward. If there's no questions, I need a motion and support. Yes. We have a motion and support to send this to the full board. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Second administrator controller item, policy 5150.
This one needed updating. It had been a while since it had been reviewed with regards to the cost of utilization of our meeting space. Just as a side note, in October, we will be bringing an updated fee schedule, and we will also be bringing, included in that fee schedule is the rental rates for the new America One Event Center. So there will be another fee update coming in at the October round of meetings. So, but this one just needed updating. I believe it had been a while since it had been reviewed. So we're just requesting again, move it to the full board for approval if you would, please.
So discussion?
Just one. I noticed the fee is the one change, or at least it's highlighted. I'm assuming it's changing. What was the former fee, or was there not one?
With regard to
Further discussion? Motion and support to send this to the full board? Support. You have motion support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion passes unanimously, going to the full board. We're moving on to item 5, other business. I see everybody's paid the claim, signed to pay the claims. Other minutes, I don't believe we have any. October reporting schedule's there for your review. Support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. We're paying the claims. Thank you. We're down to second round of public comment. We have no public. Committee member comment. Thank you, committee, for your work. Thank you for attending. Meeting adjourned.